So when you're manifesting, you're like actually calling in quite easily, or maybe you call it in partially, but it's coming to you quite easily, quite effortlessly, because you're aligned. Maybe it's an aligned desire. But then when it starts to sneak in a little bit, when you start to experience the taste of this manifestation, you're kind of a bit like, this is kind of too good to be true. Like, oh my God, is it finally here? Like, really? Is this really for me? And maybe you feel a little bit of butterflies. Maybe you're like a little bit of nervousness and you're a bit like, oh my God, like finally, like this is the day. And then this happens to you. You begin to hot potato it and you're like, oh my God, this kind of feels a bit uneasy. Like I don't really like the feeling. It kind of feels a little bit unsafe. And your mind is like, this doesn't feel right. This is too good to be true. Or this feels unknown. This is unsafe. This is a little bit weird. Like, can I really have it? Is it something that I can have? Something that I'm capable of holding? Something that I'm capable of? Something that I deserve? So it's hot potato in it. And maybe it spends the money. Maybe you get given like a load of money from your family member, but then you give it to someone else. Or maybe someone physically gives you something, like a really nice gift, and you end up giving it to someone else. Or you're just straight up like, no, I can't accept this from you. Like, if you're that kind of person that is like, oh, I can't have it, like, I really can't have it, like, I just know, like, you should have it, or, you know, give it to that person, right? If that's you when you're receiving something, that is you with the universe when you're manifesting as well. So if you're trying to manifest something, but you have this nervousness, this butterfly around receiving something, or you feel like it shouldn't be for you, it should be for someone else, you probably have a deservingness shadow. But also, you're probably receiving it in the manifestation the same way as when someone's giving it to you and you actually want it this time. So you're like, yes, of course, universe, give it to me. Instead of rejecting it, like as if it was a gift, you're like, yes, come on, give it to me, universe. You're consciously like, I want it. But then you're getting that same feeling bad, the butterflies, or it's too exciting, it's too good to be true. And then you hot potato it to someone else, or you hot potato it, like you spend the money like instantly. Like you'll see this a lot with young people when they inherit money and they instantly spend it on something massive, like a big car, or they buy a cash house outright and then they've got no money to live off. Like they'll do something with it to quickly give it away because they don't resonate as someone that can hold this amount of money. They don't resonate with the kind of person that has loads of money in their bank account. They don't even know what it looks like, let alone how to hold it. So if you resonate with this kind of receiving energy here, this is because it's dysregulating you when you receive it. So first of all, one of the most common ones is obviously the identification. Like you don't identify as someone that has this kind of thing. So it's like a self-concept problem. But then also, if you're having these heightened emotions, you're also dysregulated. This means that you have container issues. So when you have it, you're kind of like, this doesn't feel good. Like you're contracting. It's not something that feels good to you, even if consciously you're like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Subconsciously, your body is like, this doesn't feel right. So if that's you, it's because you haven't normalized it yet. There's the problem. You haven't normalized having the thing. And you're probably thinking to me now, like, of course I haven't normalized it. Like, I've never had it before. So of course it's not normal to me, right? But that's fine. Because even if you've never had it before, you can normalize a manifestation before it's arrived. And also continue working on your nervous system regulation when the manifestation is coming in and when you have it. So I've done this before because I have manifested high cash months. And I started to get to above £50,000 every single month for about 3 months straight. And the second, and I'll give you an exercise to do this in a second, and then the second, sort of like the third month came around, I was really excited about it, but I also started to feel nervous because the thoughts that came in my mind were, oh my God, this is something that I now need to live up to, because if I don't live up to these same months and I go down, then I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I'm failing, I'm doing something wrong. So I physically didn't know what to do with myself in this new standard. I didn't identify as someone that jumped to these levels. So although I manifested it, like I manifested 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, my next goal was 80,000 because I wanted £1 million company. And as soon as I got above the 50,000 for like those 3 months, I was like, oh my god, like what? How do I do this? Like I had a launch day where we did £18,000 in one day. I completely manifested that easily, effortlessly, completely detached, completely just like whatever. I don't care if I do 5k, I don't care if I do 10k. And I was just so detached from it, and I was just so excited and like feel good about this launch that it did £18,000 in one day. But then when I did the next launch, I didn't do that because now I've set the bar too high for myself. And I was like, this is so high for me, how do I do it again? And you set in this mode of like like the standards are too high for you can't meet the standards, it doesn't align with you. And so you know what I did after I did that 50k months for 3 months? I went right back down again to 30. And I didn't realize this until later on. Obviously I have a different business now and everything. I never realized this was going on, not until I got into self-development, inner work, shadow work, manifestation, shadow work, all the things. Okay, so now I know exactly what went on. I did do 50k months after that still, but the initial thing was so dysregulating for me and the whole team. Like no one could hold it, right? Literally everyone in my office was like, what the hell? So what am I going to recommend? What can you do as an exercise? So obviously when you can use this, how you can use this in your life right now to know if you're being dysregulated, because your question is probably, well, how do I know if I'm being dysregulated by my manifestation? How do I know if it's normal? Like I don't really know what I'm feeling, and it is probably because you're not paying attention to how you're feeling in the moment. So when you're manifesting, when you're visualizing especially, or I don't know, whatever you do, scripting, ask yourself, how am I feeling in this moment? How is my body feeling in this moment? So you can do some deep breaths and ask your body, how am I feeling in this moment? Am I feeling this heightened state of like super excitement? Does this manifestation feel a bit dystopian? Does it feel a bit like a fantasy world? Like, is this really something that I can have? This is like so out of me right now. I'm literally daydreaming. Like if it feels like you're literally daydreaming, it is probably something that is outside of you. It's too outside of you. You're just daydreaming at that rate. Daydreaming is great, but it has to be believable, which is why the ladder technique is so good, stretching the rubber band slowly and everything. Then also ask yourself, what does the manifestation feel like to me? So whatever comes up in that moment, what does the manifestation feel like to me? I won't put any words in your mouth, but one small example is when I just said, does it feel dystopian? Does it feel like a fantasy world? Whatever you feel like, whatever word comes to mind, what does this manifestation feel like to me? Those are the two questions I want you to ask yourself. How am I feeling in this moment? And what does this manifestation feel like to me? Listen to what comes up, quickly write it down, and then you can come back to my other videos, and obviously then we can discover on how we can overwrite that feeling and actually regulate the manifestation so you can actually hold it and not hot potato it. So I hope the video helped you. Obviously it's a very quick one. I was literally on the way to do yoga and I was like, no, I need to make a video about this. So yeah, hope to see you in another one. Have a lovely day. Bye.